Hello everyone. This week we'll be discussing Chapter 9, which is creating the foundations of our deployment pipeline. So this is an overview. We need to build mechanisms that enable creation of environments on demand. That way we can get production-like environments very quickly within a few minutes rather than days or even weeks. We need to expand the use of version control to everyone in the value stream. This means not only devs, but also ops, database guys, etc. Everyone needs to be using version control to track changes and find and fix problems much quicker. And we need to make infrastructure easier to build and repair by having automation in the environment creation process. We can spin up new environments very quickly and way quicker than it is to try and find an issue and repair that environment. It's better just to move along to a new one. And we also need to ensure that developers run their code in production-like environments. This prevents unknown errors or bugs cropping up in production when developers are implementing code that works on their machines, but not necessarily the production-like environment or the production environment due to the environment not matching. So this is going to be going a little bit more in depth on enabling the creation of the environments. So like I said, we want developers to run production-like environments. That way they can receive consistent and early feedback on the quality of their work. So if a developer is always developing in a production-like environment, they know that their code will work when they do deploy to production, and they'll know how everything is going to interact. We also want to create a common build mechanisms that create all of our environments. So that way anyone can get production-like environments within minutes instead of submitting a ticket and perhaps waiting days or even weeks to get that environment, which slows down the process to deploy. So we can use automation for any of the following to speed up this process. You can use it to copy a virtualized environment, build an automated environment creation process that starts from the bare metal foundation of your environment, using infrastructure as code configuration management tools. You can use automated operating system configuration tools, assemble an environment from a set of virtual images or containers such as Docker, or spinning up a new environment in a public or private cloud. Because we've defined all the aspects of the environment ahead of time, we can create environments that are quick to set up, stable, reliable, consistent, and secure. So this way, or doing it this way, we prevent human error whenever someone is setting up the environment manually. When you're doing this over and over and over time, you can get drift, you can get incorrect configurations, and that just leads to environments that aren't stable or secure or unlike production. So we want to create a single repository, which is version control, so that we can ensure that everyone is aware of the state that production is in. And we don't only want this for developers, we also want this for, like I said, the database guys, the ops guys, and the developers. So that way we can track changes, find errors quickly when things do break, and as I said, we can know the state that production is in at all times. So what we want in version control is basically everything that is going to affect our environment. So that goes for all application code and dependencies that developers are working on, any script used to create the database, all environments, creation tools, and artifacts described earlier, any files used to create containers, and all supported automating test and manual test scripts, such as unit tests and smoke tests. We can also use it, or we also need version control for any script that supports code packaging, deployment, database migration, and environment provisioning, all project artifacts and cloud configuration files, and any other script or configuration information required to create the environment. So like I said earlier, we want to make infrastructure easier to build than repair, because when we can quickly rebuild and recreate our applications and environments, um, it's a lot quicker than trying to find the error or issue when things do go wrong. Because that can take, you have to create a ticket, and that can take days or even weeks for someone to get started on it, and then who knows how long it takes for them to find that error. So it's better just to scrap that, build a new one really quickly, and move along with your process. So by doing all these things, we can ensure consistency. We can ensure that all changes are replicated everywhere automatically instead of manually, which leads to more user error. All changes are put into version control, which is highly important. We have immutable infrastructure, so things can't just change on the whim and cause errors later on in the pipeline. And we keep our pre-production environments up to date with how production is. And we also need to modify our definition of done for developers. Done is not just whenever it runs on our machine and everything works good on our local. Work is done actually whenever we can run our code and our changes in a production-like environment and everything works as expected. So in conclusion, by doing all these things, we can reduce the risk of production problems, and it allows developers to use production-like environments to quickly get feedback on the quality of their work at the earliest stages of a software project. By making production infrastructure easier to rebuild, we resolve problems easier and faster, as well as making it easier to expand the capacity. And by putting all production artifacts into version control, it allows us to recreate an entire production environment in a quick, repeatable, and documented way.